It's you, it's me, it's season 3, episode 165 of You'll Die Trying. It is a show which pulls back the curtain and takes down walls, brick by brick, to expose the hearts of those caring for those that you love most. And I'm Nathan, and I'm glad you're here. And Andrew Garfield was on an episode of Stephen Colbert not too long ago, I'm assuming within the last few years. If you do not know him off the top of your head, he played Spider-Man. I'm not talking about his performance. What I am talking about is he shows up to this interview shortly thereafter losing his mother, and he becomes emotional, and he says he doesn't mind to cry because it's his untapped love that he didn't get to express to her in life, and he carries that grief with pride. And then he points to the music director, Stephen Colbert, and others and says, "You sew up wounds." And I think I couldn't say it any better. I say to you, show up. The world needs you. And Andrew Garfield says it even more beautifully. You sew up wounds by your being here. And I want that positive note to start episode 165. Thank you for being here with me in this moment. Hang on just a minute. I got to take my shot of Magic Mind. Oh, it's so good. Magic Mind, I saw it on the Joe Rogan podcast, and they were taking this shot, and it was a shot of energy, but all natural. I have been a coffee drinking fiend for so long. I drink a pot, 2 pots. I was up to like 2.5 pots a day. And as I was watching and listening to the podcast, they were talking about how Magic Mind helps to cut down on your caffeine intake. And then I kept listening, and it was about brain fog and stress and anxiety and all these natural ingredients that Magic Mind are constantly going through rigorous testing to make sure they're providing. I was like, I'm going to get it. So immediately I signed up. I was like, I want to taste this and see what it does and if it can help. So I ordered me a pack, and they come in this cute little bottle, and they come in this cute little box. I take a shot every morning, and it helps with stress. It helps with my caffeine intake. It helps with all of these different ingredients. It has matcha, it has adaptogens, it has nootropics. I wanted first to lessen caffeine, and then I wanted to be healthier. I've been exposed to so many things that I've seen in the funeral profession, people who have been unhealthy and have died from ailments. And if I can help it, I want to live a long and healthy life. And so I've added Magic Mind, a shot every single morning, to my daily routine on top of running and on top of eating well. And the great people at Magic Mind, if you go to their website, magicmind.com, and at checkout, type in Nathan M20 for 20% off your first order. Please support the people who support this podcast and getting it to you. Magicmind.com. Enter Nathan M20 at checkout for 20% off your first order. Head over to magicmind.com and check it out. It is absolutely delicious. And, I mean, you might not drink so many pots of coffee. Head over to nathanmorrismusic.com, grab some swag. We do have a few limited edition vinyls available. Grab one for you and yours. Grab you a hoodie. Grab you some stuff, because all things Nathan Morris live at nathanmorrismusic.com. And yes, you can see this video and other exclusive video content at my YouTube channel, Nathan Morris Music, Nathan Morris Music on TikTok. You can just type in Nathan Morris Music everywhere. And of course, any one of you in the funeral profession who wish to be more progressive, or this whole idea of it's always been done this way, if you're tired of that and you want to push the ball, the big boulder up the hill, and you're okay with having people throw things while you're trying to do that, then be sure to click the link in the show notes and fill out the application. We are taking on a few dozen for our 12-month Mastermind course. We're going to take a deep dive into processes and products and CRM and technology and social media and all the things that we did terribly as well, so that you can be and implement things to make you even more successful going into 2024. This profession is beautiful. This profession is traditional. However, it is pretty stuck in its ways in a lot of ways. Tradition is great, but so is change. Embrace change. If you're interested, if you are okay and thick-skinned, then you can click that link. Otherwise, I would highly advise you not, because it's lonely over here, folks. I'm not gonna lie. It's okay though, right? It's okay. It's totally fine. What a past few weeks it's been. My single Yet is going to radio. Yes, you've heard it, maybe some stations across the country. Maybe you've heard it in Idaho or West Virginia. Well, now you're going to hear it everywhere. Let me know when you do hear it, and let me know that you love it. And of course, all music that has been inspired by my works as a funeral professional is streaming now wherever it is you stream your content. I've got all that mess out of the way. And now, without further ado, on TikTok, I have a subscriber only live where I'm able to interact with those of you who truly have been on the platform from the beginning. And it's $5.99 a month, and there's exclusive Q&As and interactions. It's really fun to be able to share new music and new video and things like that. So I was on a live last night, and a lot of questions surrounding embalming and traditional and memorial and cremation. And it's interesting that people now more than ever seem to really want to know. And that's good, right? And I remember when the old school, and I mean that respectfully, those who paved the way would talk about, like, well, we don't want to talk about that. And they weren't saying it to be sneaky. They were saying it because it's this very reverent thing, caring for and tending to the dead. Totally agree with that. And they don't want what is said to maybe somehow get back to someone that they care about, of course, and it hurt them, and it spring up some discomfort. And I would confidently say that it can do that. And I have experienced that with a family member where I'm speaking of something, and a family member had just lost someone, and what I was saying was a little too delicate. And so I didn't read the room well. That was on me. I think it was my job and our job now to be able to pivot and to say things in a beautiful, sensitive, gentle manner with the audience that we're sending it to. And that's what I'm getting at, is the audience on social media is a very receptive overall audience that wants to know what happens. And I'm passionate about educating people because of what is happening is beautiful and reverent and filled with humility and gentleness and kindness and selflessness. And the people that do it are some of the most incredible people. And that's why a little over a year ago, it all started. And that's why it continues, is because showing up and just saying, hey, you're worthy to be taken care of. And this is why it's done. This is what we do, how we do it. And we want you to be able to make educated decisions. That's the whole point and heart behind it. And I think there are a few professionals, Lauren and Melissa on TikTok, Funeral Babe, and Lauren the Mortician, and Hollis, and even hospice nurse Julie, who has blown up. Everybody that I'm speaking of are just at over 1 million followers. So there's obviously a demand for people wanting information. There's obviously a demand for people in our field or in the field and to say how terrible it is that we're educating, or that it's disrespectful or disgraceful. And I wonder how someone can become more receptive, open-minded, because being closed-minded is a choice. It's not like you're born with, your wingspan. That is your arms right? Your arms are a certain length or width, and they're always going to be as far as when you grow. I'm not making a very good analogy, but my point is it's like you can't change certain things. Like I can't change certain things on my body, but I can change how I open my mind up to new ideas and thoughts. And even if I don't agree with or believe in them, isn't that okay? Ryan Holiday says in his podcast, the Stoics say to not have an opinion. Not having an opinion is a great freeing thing because it frees your mind to just accept people. I mean, people are people. I'm not going to worship how you worship, and I'm not going to sing a song the way you sing it, and I'm not going to put my socks on the same way. But that doesn't mean that we can't meet here and befriend one another, right? I still am befuddled. I always wanted to put that in a podcast. I'm befuddled. I'm confused. I'm confused why a profession that's made up of some of the best people taking care of total strangers in the most incredible way, and they're great at it, right? But they're not so great at taking care of their own. And I just wonder how someone can become more open-minded. Choosing it, I guess, is the most important thing. Nonetheless, those are my pondering thoughts. A lot of people ask, how do you cope with, in the profession, so much weight, heaviness, grief, sadness? And if you're in the profession or if you're in a stressful environment, none altogether, you are aware similarly of the stress and the tolls that it could take, right? And I think it's important to be mindful of eating right, getting enough sleep, not consuming alcohol when you're sad. And that is coming straight from the horse's mouth. There's been a season of sadness in 2023. We've all experienced sadness in the past few years, so I won't play that wah, 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 But turning to drinks when you're sad is not at all healthy. So if that is something that you've done, I would highly recommend to stop it immediately. And also, a caveat to that, don't even have a drink when you're alone. And that's not because of being fearful of doing something to harm yourself, but that is how I think I'm trying to be gentle with my words because I'm grateful that I don't struggle with alcoholism, but I don't know that people who are listening or have family or loved ones that do. Personally for me, drinking alone, I think, is just some way to create this idea that tomorrow I'll have another drink, if that makes sense. So I encourage you, if you're going to have a spirits are made to be shared in a more jovial environment, a great conversation, a nice fire, a game of cards, jamming with your instruments, not sitting in solitude and sadness alone. That's my take. And I want to encourage you all that. I want to encourage you to be mindful of. Stress is something that we don't want to suppress and push away. We want to address it. Go for a walk. I've talked about this a lot as of late, going for a run, getting enough vitamin D, eating healthy. Those are ways to combat stress. And I know that therapy and doing all of those things has allowed for the manners in which I handle stress or things that are thrown at me differently. I'm being slow to respond, react, or not reacting. That's leveling up. I'm sure you're experiencing that. I'm sure you're experiencing that as well, I don't think there's any. I wish there was a roadmap for most everything that we're all experiencing, and there's not. And then you look up and you're like, what the hell is going on? And you don't have an answer. I just think being gentle with yourself, gentle with others, not taking it personal, and tending to your well-being is all we can do. It's the only thing that we can do. I don't mean for this episode to turn into some sort of self-help, but if you followed me from the beginning, you've experienced quite a journey of sorts. You've heard previous seasons, and then you've heard tumultuous moments, and then you've heard the tone in my voice where the wind is out of my sails. And if anything, I hope that is inspiring and encouraging you in your moment, wherever you find yourself, that it's going to be okay. It is. It's going to be okay. And showing up every day is most important. I've got a lot of to-dos on my to-do list. They're like big to-dos, too. I don't know if you make a list. I don't know if you write them down, which you should, or if you put them on your notes app, which is still sufficient. But the to-do list that I have is large, like big stuff. It's not mow the yard, although there are 3 yards that I have to mow, but I enjoy doing that. It has to do with houses and vehicles and retirements and insurances and all of these big things that have happened since the life-changing events that have happened in mine. And you just take one bite out of the elephant at a time. It's like, that's what's going on over here. Life-changing events are part of life, and this will be a blip, right? We'll look up one day and be like, wow. I said find the good in everything as best as you can, and that's all we can do. If you have a life-changing event happening, or multiple, or let's say it's all piling up and you feel like you're about to explode, take a deep breath, count to 10, and you can only do what you can do, but do it. Do something. Do a little at a time. Show up. The world needs you. I need you. And I meet you right here in this moment. Cheers to you. Cheers to everything that you have going on. I hope that you realize how important what you do is at your job and at your home, and be 1% better today than you were yesterday. Try to be better today than you were yesterday. And lastly, in the end, it was between you and God. It wasn't between them. Episode 165 is in the bag. The self-help episode brought to you by... No, it's... Jokes aside, I truly believe that you needed to hear that. Head to nathanmorrismusic.com. You can find this and other episodes streaming right now on YouTube, Nathan Morris Music, and get you some swag and your love far more than you could ever know. And it would be really helpful for this podcast specifically is leave a review, give us 5 stars, and hit the bell so you can be reminded when new episodes release every single Tuesday, 6 a.m. sharp, that's, I guess, Central Time. I don't know. Oh, Lord, we've got a disaster here, but it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. I'll see you at 166.